There we go. So good evening, America. This is your favorite and probably the only one you follow episodic podcast of Dare to Disagree. I got good news for everybody. You might have seen it on our Facebook post, but tonight it doesn't look like there's going to be any black people. So we're doing really well, better than usual. That's why we're more close on time than normal. But this is Alone in the Dark, your host tonight.
This be Puppet Master. The only side that matters is the white side.
We're gonna have a great freaking show tonight, okay? Supposedly there might be some of our other hosts jumping in, but if any of you have ever waited on a colored person before, we're not expecting it, okay? But what topic do you want to start out with? Mine or yours?
Uh, I don't really care. We can pick either one.
I'll jump into mine real quick, because I figure if we're gonna piss people off, we'll do it right from the beginning, okay? So mine, what happened was, and I saw a bunch of people, more of my conservative friends, bitching about it first, was Jesse Ventura versus Chris Kyle. Okay. Now, Chris Kyle, of course, most of our viewers should understand, is supposed to be the most prolific sniper in the history of freaking modern sniping, if not for all time. I mean, it's kind of hard to call it. You know, back during like World War II and World War I, there's those people who claim they killed like 600 people with a sniper rifle. That's probably bullshit. But confirmed kills, which means he had an actual witness. I think that witness has to be an officer or something along those lines to confirm that he killed someone. He had 160 confirmed kills, which is fucking incredible. Then they estimate he probably had a total of 240 actual kills. Just those other 80 were unconfirmed. So was just an incredible fucking sniper. Some of the shots they say this guy took are just unimaginable. I mean, shooting people from 2,100, 2,100 feet away, which is, I mean, I think I was reading he had to aim 400 feet above that person because the fucking shot fouled by 400 feet after he fired it, and it took 6 seconds to get there. So if you can imagine shooting 40 fucking stories, I mean, that's almost not a sniper shot anymore. That's like artillery strike on somebody. That's fucking incredible. And then his opponent here was Jesse Ventura, which is he was a wrestler back in the day. Well, he's part of he was in the Navy. He's part of the UDT, which is underwater demolitions team, which, I mean, if you know about those guys, that's a pretty fucking tough job. I mean, that's guys swimming under a ship and planting bombs on it and blowing that shit up. You know, those are fucking hardcore guys. There's an argument saying that he's claiming to be part of the SEALs and he was never a SEAL. I mean, that was true, because they were separate entities back then. They've all been combined into one now. And I've never really heard him say, I was part of the SEALs. I've heard him say, I was in the UDT, I was in the Navy, which is an impressive fucking resume right there. Other people kind of combine those together, but I don't think he ever did. I think he freaking kept them separate like that. Hold on. But yeah, I don't think he ever claimed being part of the freaking SEALs. Even though some people accuse him of it. But even then, if he did claim being part of the UDT, that's kind of a viable claim, Anyways, the whole point of their altercation was, according to Chris Kyle's book, American Sniper, has the same name as the movie that just came out, him and Jesse Ventura met up at a bar for a memorial for a SEAL who got killed. And they were both there. They, according to Chris Kyle's book, Jesse Ventura was talking a lot of shit about the military, about the U.S. government, which, in all honesty, wouldn't be that surprising. I mean, Jesse Ventura has come on the record saying he didn't like Bush, he didn't like Cheney, he was disgusted by their, okaying torture tactics. He thought the war in Iraq was a bunch of bullshit. So that is kind of understandable. He did have those views. The part where is contested is then he says Jesse Ventura started making bad remarks about the military, and went so far as to say that the SEALs deserve to lose some people because of the bullshit they've been pulling out in Iraq. Now, when he originally wrote in the book, and like if you bought the book, he never named Jesse Ventura in there. He actually called him Scruffy Face or Scruff Face or something like that, and said he was a Hollywood celebrity or something like that. It was enough information in the book for people to guess who he was talking about. But then later on, during interviews, he actually came out and said, yeah, that was Jesse Ventura that I had that altercation with. So anyways, he said Jesse Ventura said that shit, and then he beat Jesse Ventura, punched him in the face, knocked him to the ground, and then left the building, I guess. Once he confirmed who he was talking about, Jesse Ventura vehemently denied it. Said that there's no way I would never say anything like that about military people. I never even met Chris Kyle. I knew he was there, but I never even spoke to him. Let alone got in a fight with him. Let alone got beat up by him. Like that never happened. He immediately asked Chris Kyle to remove that from the book and apologize. Chris Kyle refused, and he took him to court. A year later, Chris Kyle died during that tragedy. He was trying to help some guy with PTSD. That guy freaking flipped out and killed Chris Kyle and another veteran, if I remember right. And Jesse Ventura was kind of left, do I continue on with this lawsuit or not? He continued on with the lawsuit against Chris Kyle's estate, which is where you hear a bunch of people yelling, look at what a piece of shit Jesse Ventura is. He's suing a widow and her kids for their money over this shit, right? And it carries on from there. So you've probably heard about this story, right, Puppet Master?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at that point, when I first heard about this, I was like, damn, I don't like Jesse Ventura. He said a lot of shit that I'm not too fond of. Plus, I'm not a wrestling fan either, so coming from a wrestling background doesn't really impress me, okay? But I never really had a reason to like or, seriously dislike the guy either way. But when I looked into the story, it started coming out to be a whole lot more messy than people were wanting to admit. And even though I have every reason to like Chris Kyle and a lot of reasons to dislike Jesse Ventura, it kind of came to the end that I couldn't really blame Jesse Ventura in this whole thing. Like, now that the case is over, just so everybody knows, Jesse Ventura won that case. He won his case for defamation, which if anybody that knows law, that is an extremely hard case to win. You got to prove, number one, that the person actually lied. That's pretty easy to prove since Chris Kyle put it in a book and did it on televised, and confirmed it on televised interviews. Then you got to know that that person's lying, okay, or that person has to know they're lying. So, like, if I say I think Puppet Master beats his wife, I would have to know that he didn't in order for him to really get me for defamation, okay? Then you have to prove that I didn't intending to cause damage, that it actually did cause damage, and in this case, for the actual thing that Chris Kyle or that Jesse Ventura was suing for, that Chris Kyle benefited off that lie. So it's a huge problem to fucking come through with, because you're allowed to lie. It's legally you have the right to lie. Okay, like that was that whole thing with stolen valor. When that went to the Supreme Court, they kicked it out, saying that people have a legal ability to lie. We don't really like that, but that's kind of the thing. You do get permission as an American to lie, so just lying about somebody isn't enough for it to be defamation, So when the facts of the case came out, it really was almost undeniable that Chris Kyle was lying in his book. There was no... The freaking owner of the bar that they were at also confirmed that no, this fight never happened. And if anybody is going to know there's a fight in this bar, it's going to be the fucking owner of the bar who was working that night. Like, the stories from the witnesses were completely mixed up. Like, they didn't match the stories from other witnesses confirming Chris Kyle's story there. They were all fucked up. Well, the witnesses saying that nothing happened, that these two never even conversed with each other, were all freaking solid, So that's where I kind of hit my problem with being too mad at Jesse Ventura for suing this guy when he was absolutely lied about. You know what I'm saying, Puppet Master? What do you think about that so far?
Well, I think that Jesse Ventura believes what a lot of people believe is that the truth is what you make it. You can deny to a certain point where everybody starts to believe. And now I'm not saying he's wrong. He may have been wrong in the whole situation, but there is a chance he's still a goddamn liar and this shit actually happened. Second, all right, they were in a SEAL bar. They were in a bar that is owned and operated by a military member. Okay, so do you really want to advertise that your clientele, which is already rough to get outsiders in there, is beating people up, and yes, they are SEALs too? No, you're going to deny that shit ever happened. On top of it, the people who were probably witnesses that could have been witnesses for Chris Kyle were probably drunk. Yeah. And so was Chris Kyle. And that's why the stories probably weren't accurate. And I'll tell you this right now. I probably more than I probably should ever admit, I've been drunk enough to not have a clue what happened last night, but was completely functional. Yeah. So I can't take that away from Chris Kyle. However, I can say that if, and at one point in your thing, you mentioned your blog, you mentioned the fact that there was no bruising and no marks on him. You know, did he go to the hospital? No, he didn't. So is there ever going to be any after proof? Like, is there going to be aftermath proof this far from the event? No, there's not. The guys that were saying, hey, you know what, this never happened, how do you know they weren't friends of Ventura's trying to help him save face? Or how do you know he didn't pay them to help him save face? I mean, these things could have happened. So the only people who really know the truth would have been Chris Kyle and Jesse. And that's it. I don't think that, even though a court ruled in his favor, you know what, yeah, it's really hard to prove it, but it's really easy to fight against somebody's word who's dead. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, but he already had his depositions, you know. Chris Kyle already went through all the actions he should have during his case.
I understand that, but I still think there's a shot. There's a small percentage where this could have been an actual true event, and Jesse Ventura just didn't like the fact that he was put on blast.
Yeah, but here's the other unusual thing, though, is when you go through Jesse Ventura's history, he has said a lot of anti-American government, which is, I'd like to specify, anti-U.S. government. He's always been a guy who's been patriotic, just against our government. But throughout his entire freaking history, you know, this 40-something years, he's never said anything anti-military.
Well, you know, and I'll give that to you, but here's the thing. Again, Chris Kyle was probably drunk. And did he hear what he really heard if this really transpired? Did he hear what he thought he heard? Probably not. He probably heard something that sounded a lot like that, but it probably wasn't the words, hey, the SEALs could afford to lose a few or deserve to lose a few. I mean, those probably weren't his exact words. It probably was nowhere near that drastic. You know, it was probably more along the lines of people need to be held accountable for their actions, or somewhere, you know, that, not the exact words, but something of that line of thinking. And it probably got taken the wrong way if this ever transpired and got out of hand. Again, I've been in that position. You know, I know that it's very easy to do, especially when you're drunk. So I can't say that for certain that I think Jesse Ventura, you know, should have won. I can't say that he should have not won. You know, I can't side with either one.
Now let's take that off the table then, you know, because it will always be up in the air. You know, anything has some portion of reasonable doubt. And since it was a civil suit, they don't have to prove. Like civil, a lot of people don't understand, but civil cases are easier to win than criminal cases. In a criminal case, you just have to prove that there's a reasonable doubt you didn't do it. In a civil case, it's like 50-50. You know, so like in a criminal case, you have to prove like 80% chance, 80-90% chance this is the guy who fucking did it. Mm-hmm. In a civil case, you just have to do a 50-50 chance. You know, so that's the difference. So there's that chance. But let's say let's say we don't. Let's say this is you, okay? You got in a fight, a freaking altercation with this guy. You're suing him now because he's fucking lying to you. I mean, you're taking Jesse Ventura's side here, okay?
Okay.
So this fight never happened, but somebody's saying this. This actually damages your ability to make money. Gets you kicked out of a bunch of things, you know, because he was in a bunch of special forces groups that kicked him out due to this story about him saying special forces people should have died. You know.
Right.
And he's been a special forces guy since fucking I think the 70s or something like that. Decade before freaking Chris Kyle was born. Jesse.
Yeah, they're fraternities almost.
Yeah.
You know, that's yeah.
And he was thrown out of this shit due to this story that Chris Kyle made, which maybe Chris Kyle misunderstood him. Maybe he just decided it was a really cool story to invent for his book. If you were in Jesse Ventura's, okay, you're suing him now, and Chris Kyle dies, do you think it's wrong for you to continue on with your lawsuit?
You know, no. Here's the thing. If Jesse Ventura, if it didn't happen, and he wholeheartedly believed that, then yes, I would have carried on with the lawsuit as well. Because so you gotta understand, like, the only people that I care that what they think about me is my wife and kids and my family. And if I was Jesse, that shit wouldn't have mattered to me because that's just not me, you know. But take that off the table, put it back on Jesse. All right, it does matter to him. So yes, he wants to get that notoriety back. He wants his name back. If I made the commitment and initiated and made the commitment to sue the guy, even after death, I would have had to follow through.
Yeah.
Now, the other part you gotta understand though is if it did happen and Jesse was just trying to save face and he's suing the guy and the guy dies, it would be kind of fishy if Jesse didn't follow through anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was kind of, regardless, he had to follow through either to clear his name legitimately or clear his name because, you know, he actually fucking did it and he didn't want people to know he did it. You know what I mean? So, again, I have a hard time taking a side on this. I think that it could have been both ways. Now, the one thing that we did, that you mentioned, I do believe he embellished in his book. I didn't read the entire book yet. But the state trooper thing or the two hijackers. Yeah. I have a hard time believing that anyone in the federal government or in a local law enforcement would call somebody in the federal government and be like, hey, did you guys give this guy a license to kill? Oh, you did? That's cool. So we'll just put John Doe's on their toes and call it a day? I mean, I have a hard time with that.
And here's the issue is that can't be a secret thing that he can get away with it because every fucking cop in the nation would have to know. Hey,
Oh yeah.
if I get this special phone number, I gotta just close this case. And if every fucking cop in the U.S. knows, that's gonna be public knowledge. Okay, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of police officers.
Hey, you're essentially saying that every cop has to know that this number belongs to a cleaner, and he's going to take care of the dirty work that this individual just gave you. You know, hey, that's just not going to happen.
Especially with Kyle's story, he was totally in the right to shoot those guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have believed it if, hey, yeah, they freaking, you know, they strung me, they brought me in for questioning, this and that. And then some of my freaking senior officers came in and talked to them and said, you know, I'm a dick. Then I could understand the story, you know.
Right.
I could see a cop letting you go for not, you know, even then it would be public record though. Chris Kyle killed these people, but it was justified homicide.
And there's no record of this transpiring anywhere in that state, right?
And there's no record that there was 2 carjackers killed or 2 people. I mean, that just didn't. The whole story didn't exist, you know.
I mean, you're right on spot when I read your blog that he why you're already a prolific individual. The things you've done are amazing. Why would you go to such great lengths just to make it just that much more interesting? It would have been a great book even without that crap. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you know he wrote the book and his editor was like, you know, you need to spunk this up because it's just to me it's dry. Maybe because the editor wasn't a the target audience didn't understand where he was going with it, and that's why he did it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that this could have happened. I mean, I don't know.
My thing is it's hard for me, even not really knowing the facts of the case with Jesse, it's hard for me to ignore the fact that he lied about that story and then lied about the Superdome, where he said he was during Hurricane Katrina, and this is why he was in the military, by the way.
Hey, did you get the text from Cold Conscious?
Yeah, I just sent it.
All right. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, he said that he was posted on the roof of the Superdome with another sniper, and they shot like 30 armed looters out there. Again, this is a completely unbelievable story. Okay, if they need snipers out there, they're probably going to get police snipers whose job that actually is to handle that, not go in and find some guy. And SOCOM has denied it. No, this is a ridiculous story. It's completely invented. It's fucking bullshit, So it's hard for me to overlook these two blatant lies and then go back to this Jesse Ventura story and give him the benefit of the doubt. Like,
I'll give that to you, man.
I don't have. It isn't a stretch for me that you invented this whole fucking story too.
I can get where you're at, but again, I can't. I can discount the other two with enough evidence. There is no true. There isn't lack of evidence that it happened. Just like if you think about the other two, there is lack of evidence the other two situations ever happened.
Yeah. But
there isn't lack of evidence. He's got people that said, yes, this happened. They were in a bar together. They were there for a wake of a SEAL. I mean, they could. Ventura can say all he wants. He never talked to the guy while I was there. But you know what? If I was trying to save face, I'd say whatever I got to do to make it seem like that altercation could not have possibly happened. So the fact that they were actually in the bar together, and there's people other than Kyle that says, yes, this happened, I'd have to say there's a 50-50 chance that actually did happen. With the other two, I could see why you wouldn't want to commit to that. I could see that.
Now, the other issue, like you were saying, there's no damage now. They weren't looking at evidence of Ventura being damaged now from that fight, because that'd be impossible. I mean, it was months later when he actually brought the lawsuit, because it took months for Kyle to admit who he was
right.
naming in the book. But they have pictures. Jesse Ventura attended events not long out. I mean, within days, public events where there's pictures of him, and not a mark on him. And I mean, according to Kyle's story, that's hard to believe, because he says he punched him in the face and knocked him out. You're punching a 60-year-old man on blood thinners with a heart condition in the face, and you didn't leave a mark as a 200-pound still?
I don't know, man. Hey, we take this in context. My dad was a 55-year-old man. He was on blood thinners. It was called alcohol, and I hit him in the head and knocked him out, and didn't leave a mark on him either. So, it's possible. It just depends on where you hit him. I mean, did he hit him in the face, or did he hit him on the side of the head? I mean, literally anything past the jawbone. If you hit somebody anywhere past the jawbone, you can get away with not leaving a mark.
Yeah, it's just each piece of it is what do you call it? Has a chance of happening.
Yep.
It's just when you wrap everything up and then add it that this came out of a book from somebody who's lying about other shit.
Yep.
Right. I don't give it 50-50 anymore. I give it like 80% chance that Kyle was lying, and there's a 20% that maybe freaking Ventura's just trying to save face. But even then, in Ventura's angle, if he was saying shit like that in a public bar where a bunch of people are hearing him, I don't think. I mean, he's been really public about his views before. I mean, going on fucking news and podcasts, stuff like that. It's really weird that he would suddenly, even if he felt like this, which he has no reason to since he is a freaking Special Forces guy, that he would want to keep that part a secret. Okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, if Chris Kyle misunderstood him, it could have been nowhere near that context. You know what I'm saying?
That's my thing. I don't see why it would be embarrassing for a 60-year-old man to get beat up by a fucking current Navy SEAL. Like, even me right now, I'm fucking 28. if I got beat up by a Navy SEAL, I wouldn't be embarrassed. Like, that's a fucking Navy SEAL. Of course he beat me up.
Yeah.
Little on if you're 60 years old, you know, with fucking conditions. It's not. There's not even a proud part of that story for Chris Kyle. You beat up a fucking old man, you know, like you didn't beat up Jesse Ventura in his prime when he was a fucking world-known wrestler. That would have been an interesting story for Chris Kyle.
True.
Jesse Ventura, I don't see why he would need to save face for that. You know, like
you know, it's not. He was saving face for, and maybe that's if it. All right, so I see where you're going with that, and saving face and getting beat up by a SEAL. It's not something he needs. But maybe he just didn't. He wanted to distance himself from the situation in general, the context of what was being said, and doesn't want to have to explain what he really did say or what he meant by what he said, if it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that Kyle actually heard what he heard. I'm just saying if he said something that's not even in the same context, maybe what he said was still fucked up. And he doesn't want to have to admit to that either.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
I mean, because that's especially the communities he's in. I mean, you're in the special forces communities. Like I said, it's 30. You say something that, you know, could possibly be construed by more than one of the members of your community. That could trickle down to a massive effect. And well, look, it did. I mean. So, it's, I don't know. Regardless, you know, I never liked Ventura anyway, so I really don't care about him. And regardless, Chris Kyle is a hero, and he's done some amazing stuff, and no one can take that away from him, no matter what his book said and lied about. It doesn't really matter.
With me, and that's kind of my point on it. With him, nobody can take that away from Chris Kyle. He's a fucking legend, and it's like Carlos Hathcock. You know, nobody's gonna forget his fucking name. The only person who can take that away from Chris Kyle is him.
Yep.
You know? And that's kind of my issue that really bothers me with this. Is he was just his fucking legend is amazing, and for him to tarnish it with the bullshit he did really makes a bad sign. You know. There's also other little things that there's not enough, I don't know enough about it to really hold against him. Like, there's a lot of people complaining that when he wrote that book, him and his wife and his publicist all said all the proceeds for this book are going to help veterans. You know, help, what is that called with the things for, like, the widows and children and something like that? Like, you know, when a veteran dies, his family, they're on special fucking... All of that was supposed to go to them, which is what they said, which I don't really think they needed to do that. Like, if they said it was a good percentage, that's more than I think he needs to do, you know?
Right.
Like, he's done his service. He doesn't need to freaking take, you know, his income that he's going to live off for the rest of his life by that movie and that book and deliver it out. That's something people who haven't served like he has to do. But they said that they were going to do it, and it never came to pass. Like, you know.
Well, it's probably before the lawsuit got filed, they realized they're going to be out $1.8 million.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's nothing I require out of them. But if you're going to say you're going to do something, then do it. And they're kind of backing off on it now. Now it's not, which, I mean, he's dead now. You know, when they made that deal, here's their primary income source is now deceased. You know, if they come out and said, hey, we're part of these fucking widows and orphans now, too, so we're not going to be giving 100% of it away like we said, then I'm totally fine. But when you're using that as a selling point for your book, then maybe you need to follow up on it. You know? Yeah. Including if that's coming out and saying, hey, you know, shit happened. Everybody, this fucking national event that this happened, we're kind of having to step back from it. I'm totally fucking okay with that. I totally understand that. You know, here's a young family who just lost their freaking husband. You need to do what you need to do, you know? Make sure you guys are set for life, and so you don't have to fucking worry about it. Just tell people. I mean, I don't know if so many people bought the book because they said all this freaking shit was going to the veterans or the widows and orphans and shit like that. But it's kind of a deal you made. You need to fucking own up to it, or at least explain why you're not. You know, that's kind of my issue with it. If I wrote a book that made $6 million, I can guarantee that 100% of that fucking money's not going to nobody but me. You know?
And me. I get 1%, man.
You plumb through dare to disagree. But it's just my thing. You need to follow through on your word. And this is this is my running problem with him is it just doesn't. And how much of his story in the military now can I trust with knowing he's coming out and making bullshit lies? Like, now it's kind of questioning, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the heroics are unquestionable. I mean, like I said, they were confirmed kills. But if he was lying with that Jesse Ventura thing, then there was a bunch of other SEALs in there, too, who were lying for him. So how do I not say that maybe he was lying over here, too? You know?
Yeah,
And that's my problem. I'm not saying that he did lie. I'm not even saying I think that that's the case. I'm just saying you leave that open when you make bullshit lies for nobody to believe what you really did. You know? And that's kind of my problem. You know, now we have a hero who could have been a fucking, you know, who was, I mean, for a good while, a symbol of fucking American military and American ability and special forces, how amazing our special forces was. And now a lot of people could really step back and, you know, go, hey, fuck, I don't know what the real story is. This is written by a known liar. How do I know where the truth is now? You know?
Yeah. I think very few people even take the time to think the perspective that you're coming at. So I don't think it'll ever affect his memory of what he's done and where he's been. So
I hope not, because he's still an incredible fucking person for some of the shit he's done. I mean, just amazing shit he's done. It's just it hurts me to see that opening's left there. You know.
yeah.
You know, instead of and that's another thing people are complaining about is like, you know, that Jesse Ventura thing was only it was a sub-chapter of the book, not a big deal, but you can track back, like they pulled all the freaking publicists' emails where they said, holy shit, now that this story's out, the book sales are going like crazy, which is how they proved, you know, with defamation with the intent to, well, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but that they were making money off this lie. Who knows how much money that book would have made without him going on TV and bullshitting and, you know, and, you know, getting a bunch of people who hate Jesse Ventura to go read the book to see his ass get beat, you know? Like,
Yep.
So, I don't know. That's kind of my whole point of things. I feel bad that it came down to that. I don't really, especially if this is really the case that Jesse Ventura is being lied about, it doesn't hurt my feelings at all that he continued the case after Kyle died. Like, he didn't sue Tara or whatever the widow was.
Tara.
He sued Kyle's estate, which Kyle made the executive. You know, she was made the executive of. I don't know if that was his plan or if that's just how it felt once he died. That's not really Jesse Ventura's fault that she got thrown into that mess. If Kyle was lying, then that's his fault. You know, not Jesse Ventura's. Like, I'm gonna make sure that there's no lies waiting on me, no losses waiting for me to wait for my wife in case I crash this motorcycle and die tomorrow. You know, like that's something you gotta kind of freaking look out for when you're making bullshit lies. You know. So, I don't know. It's a twisted story, and I wish I could totally take Kyle's side because I'm not a really big fan of Jesse Ventura. Like, his whole 9/11 truther bullshit and some of the other conspiracies he's come out with, you know, I'm not a big fan of. But looking at it, I just can't. I can't, you know, hold him up as an asshole when, to me at least, there's 80% chance here that this was just a guy who's a victim of a liar.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the issue, you know?
To see it.
But that's all I really got to say about that shit. You know, man?
Yep. I ain't got anything else on that.
It's almost depressing to talk about anyways.
Yep.
So what was your topic now? Let's jump over.
So, the blog topic?
Yeah.
All right. So, I did a blog post, and on this blog post, it's I called it the slow death of the American dream, and it's one of those things that a lot of people nowadays will blame, you know, the economy and what's going on, and you know, dependency all on you know, the government and how we're set up as a government, and you know, the current administration. And I ventured to say that I felt that that it started long before that. I think that it started in, you know, the early '90s. The generations that were being brought up, you know, that's when we started adopting this everyone's a winner mentality. And like I said in the post, is that I felt that I could understand why, because nobody wants to see their kid, you know, upset or treated unequally. But in the reality is you're setting these kids up for failure because all you're doing is inhibiting them from, striving to achieve something great, to better themselves, whether it be in school, sports, jobs, and when we do that, we end up in a society like we're in right now, where all these people who are working their ass off are getting slowly ahead, but then you got all the people who refuse to do anything, who are taking all the handouts because they feel entitled, because mama said so when I was 5 years old, that I rate what you have because I should be equal, and that I should get a trophy even though I suck at whatever it is I did. So it was much more elegant on my post, but that's the gist of it.
Now here's my, like, I put on there that the part I think is the issue, because when it first came out, it was like participation awards, right? You got award for participating, which really, if done correctly, I'm not against, because just participating does put you above a lot of fucking people, depending on what you're talking about.
Right.
Kids are out there playing like my coworker in my life. Her kids played softball, softball, and it was a fucking atrocious fucking what do you call it, schedule that she had to keep with those kids to keep them up on it. So I would hate for these kids not to be somewhat awarded, at least trying it, when there's a bunch of kids just playing video games all weekend and not fucking doing shit. Like, they do need to be given a leg up for going out there and doing the work and putting the work in, even if they're not a fucking MVP. Even if they're just barely good enough to make the fucking team, that's better than most, But what I think people had to fall, like, somehow that converted into, now the winners aren't even practically, some things are not even being rewarded more than the people who aren't doing as good as the top of the line, the MVPs and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that should be the case, because, number one, if everybody's the same, then nobody's really going to try and strive to be the MVP. Your natural competitiveness might bring you out, but if it's not even an award for you, why fucking do it, or why try harder at it? And if you're being awarded for doing something that maybe you're not that great at, I'm one of those people who believes every person has something in their life that they will be better than everybody else at. Okay, or practically everybody.
But that doesn't necessarily make them a winner. I mean, that's
no.
When you stated that, I believe everybody's a winner. It just depends on what they're good at. Well, yeah, that doesn't make them a winner.
No.
But that's not true, because I know some people who absolutely suck at everything, and they probably should put that fashionable noose on and tack it to the wall and drop to their knees. So.
But what I'm saying is, like, let's say we're sticking with the kids here. Let's say you have some kid playing soccer and he's not all that good at it, but you're treating him just as good as the MVP. Maybe soccer's not his fucking game. Maybe that kid needs to pick up a basketball, and that's where his true talents lie,
True.
And we don't know if the thing that they're going to be good at exists yet. Like, Michael Jordan, for example, okay? That guy was an incredible fucking basketball player. Now we're getting some players out that people are saying, they could have challenged Mike back in his prime. But back in his prime, there was fucking nobody.
Right.
Let's think about what he did. Now he's a fucking multi-million. I think he's in the hundreds of millions is what he's worth, Think about if he had been born 100 years sooner. Same fucking Michael Jordan, same talent, same everything. Where would he have gone in life?
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. I don't agree with you on the whole participation award thing. I don't think if you're not the winner, you shouldn't get shit. Because here's the thing. The reward of playing a sport or doing good in school and studying is the fact that you had fun. The fact that you are progressing, that you got a diploma. Now, if everyone gets a participation award, say I'm that kid. Well, I got something, so I don't have to try that hard. I'm gonna get it regardless. And then they age. We get to high school, which I believe now. I mean, like I said, I didn't have any statistics to back this up, but I honestly believe that the education system has lowered the standards to ensure people graduate and all we've done is graduate idiots. And you know that I've done the whole recruiting thing, so with that, I could tell you that there's one entire school. There's 28, no, there's 120 male seniors. Or, yeah, something like that. It was male seniors. Average score in the ASVAB was a 28, is what it was.
Holy shit.
No, I didn't have a single kid that year, and they tried. These kids were trying to join because they ain't got shit up there, all right? Trying to join, trying to pass. Not a single kid scored over 28.
God damn. That wasn't
even
even
the 31.
That wasn't even the average. That was the high score. Was 28.
That was the high score. Was 20. I had so many kids just on that 28 mark, but that's the education system. We are trying to push them through for this No Child Left Behind. And what that does is if we keep pushing through and helping them along the way and doing it for them, they never catch on. They never do the work. They never get smarter. But you know what? They're going to get a diploma. Even if it's a modified diploma, they're going to get one. And then they get out in the real world, and they expect the real world to push them along and give them what they need. And that's where we are as a society. We've decided that instead of correcting this deficiency in the harsh way, which really sucks for a lot of people if we do, we're going to take care of these people, and we're going to take away from the hardworking individual who busts his ass, who studied in school, who, was the soccer player that got MVP or the football player, but they busted their ass their entire lives. That mentality has been instilled in them ever since they were kids. But we're going to give what they have to the fucking retard who literally just showed up for school and got a diploma.
Yeah.
And that's what, now they're granted. Some of the handouts that we give as a society is understandable to certain people, not to everybody. And the biggest statement I think I said in that post was that I feel, I put the definition of the American dream on there, and that was from I think Wikipedia and a couple other sources I looked at, but it was almost word for word at every place I looked. The American dream is not socialism. It is prosperity through hard work, and that is the part that we're failing at, is to teach that you get what you put into it. All these kids don't understand that nowadays. They expect to get without putting anything in, and that's where we're fucked up.
Now here's where I'll contest that, okay? Because I have met some incredibly fucking hardworking people make it nowhere. Okay, like people who just bust their fucking ass every day on 2-3 fucking jobs and get fucking nowhere in life. It's not really a hard work type thing. It's more of a work intelligently type thing to get up somewhere. And I'm like, here's my issue: is a lot of people blame the state of the U.S. on people who, they may have a part of it, but I would be willing to bet the percentage of damage that they've done to the country is in the single digits until we look at what's really causing the fucking problems. Okay, like, yeah, here we have a bunch of people, these fuckers aren't working hard and they're still working fucking minimum wage jobs, but jobs that didn't pay minimum wage back in the day are now paying minimum wage. Or jobs that used to be able to provide for a fucking family are now, you're having to be on government assistance just to fucking survive. And I'll never fucking agree with that. I don't think any company has the right to survive if they can't pay their freaking employees a living wage. It's kind of like, people bitch about it saying, if you make me pay these people a living wage, well, now my company's going to go fucking bankrupt. Well, guess what? That's your fucking problem. Okay? If my company requires me to get gas for $0.25 a gallon, the gas stations aren't going to go, well, guess what? We're going to be losing money on you, but we'll give you your gas for $0.25 a gallon so that your company gets to survive. And when they don't do that, I don't get to go bitch and say, hey, the real life cost of operating are too much, so now my company's going bankrupt, so socialism ruined me. Like, that's not how it gets to work,
Some socialist programs is understandable. We have them, and they work, but they're being abused. Now, I'm not talking about. All right, I'm not talking about the blame of the government. I'm talking about instilling the the characteristics in your children that are going to make them successful. And we are not doing that. We are still not doing that. Instead of doing that, we are coddling them. And this is not on the backs of the, and honestly, I don't blame the kids right now. I don't blame the guys who are, expecting the handouts. I put this on the backs and the heads of their fucking parents. This is their fault. They put us in this predicament. And I didn't grow up in a nice family. I love my sisters and I love my mom, and my dad was a jackass, but I didn't grow up in an easy family to grow up in, but my mom still took the time to teach me that I had to work for what I got. You know what I'm saying? I had a job at 11 years old. That sounds ridiculous. I'm not old enough to live in an era ever where I should have had a job at 11 years old, but I sure the hell did. And I busted my ass, and by the time I was 13, I had 2 jobs. So that is something we fail to teach our kids, is that they have to work for what they get. I'm not saying that socialism ruins anything or a living wage. That's a whole topic we've already talked about. I'm talking about raising your kids with the drive that they need to be successful. And if we never do that, if we don't start doing that, we are never going to get out of this perpetuating cycle of generation after generation expecting the hardworking middle class to turn around and spoon feed the lower class because they choose not to get a job. And I have a problem with this whole, taxing the college savings programs of the middle class to send these kids to college. I mean, it's not even just kids. You could be a 40-year-old man, get 2 years of free college under Obama's new plan that he wants to enforce. But you're going to take that away from a kid whose parents have been saving ever since before they probably even had kids? That don't make any damn sense. Find another way for it. You know what? Give us some of the money that you get paid as the president. Tax all the guys over there at the Senate and the House. There's better ways to come up with this money. How about this? Why don't you just pass a balanced budget plan that you're supposed to do, required by law, that you haven't done in the last 6 years? How about that? And that might just help fix the problem.
Now here, the other thing too, and I don't know if you were with the show when we talked about it, but we were talking about the differences from the current generation to going back to the baby boomer generation. And in all honesty, we talk about these fucking kids want handouts and this and that. I really don't know, and I had some numbers in that show to back me up, but I'm willing to bet that the baby boomer generation got way more fucking handouts and a way easier economy to live in, handed down by the greatest generation, their parents before them, than the current generation gets. Like back then, during when the baby boomers were kids, if you had a job at a fucking burger shop, you made enough money to support your family. We have the numbers to fucking back that up. Minimum wage was at a level that you could, as just a single worker, support a family poorly. I mean, you didn't have any disposable income. You lived in a fucking shitty part of town, but you could feed them and you didn't require government assistance. That's not the case now. I mean, we even had, I don't know if you ever saw it, but McDonald's put out a budget for their workers, how you guys could survive, and it was fucking garbage. Like, it didn't account for heating your home, it didn't account for gas for your car, it didn't account for a car, it didn't account for public transportation to make up for not having a car, and it already counted in 2 jobs, and like the amount it expected you to pay for food for a month was fucking unbelievable. It's like $120 for a family of 3 or something like that. If you could feed a family of 3 $120, I want to know what the fuck you're eating.
Yeah,
top ramen every fucking day. But now this has totally changed, and now we're like pointing the finger at the generation who is working harder to get less of results than the baby boomers did. You know what I mean? Like, they're having to take on 2 jobs just to get their little family to survive and live in fucking poverty, while the baby boomers got that just with 1 fucking job.
All right, I understand where you're coming with this, but just hear me out for a second. There are way more programs free to the population now than there ever were before. All right? Somebody's got to pay for that. All right? By paying for that, whether it be individuals like me and you, the rich or businesses, due to taxes and regulation and violations because of this new crap that's coming out, it may actually be just a little bit harder to raise wages in accordance with inflation because we have so many programs out there. Free phones. You don't need a free cell phone, let alone a smartphone. They're getting that shit. They didn't have that shit back then, and someone's got to pay for that. If we didn't have so many outlandish programs that weren't getting abused, just maybe, the people who are actually paying for the shit that they're getting for free would be able to help out more across the society. I mean, I have a hard time believing that it's only because people that are running corporations are greedy motherfuckers and they don't want to give up money. Some of it is the money that they would normally give up and give raises and bonuses and all the crap that you're talking that they got back in the day. That I would venture to say the reason some of that doesn't happen is because all that shit goes to the government anyway. They turn around and give it to them anyway. So,
but it doesn't
think about that.
Like, if you look at the numbers, corporations paid way higher taxes back then than they do now. I mean, we have several...
Now, you're talking about taxes. What about the other things that aren't taxes that they have to pay? Taxes aren't the only thing corporations pay.
But give me an example and show me numbers that they're paying more. I mean, by every fucking number one, their CEOs are getting paid ridiculously more.
No, I agree with that. I think that's got out of control. I'll agree with that.
But that's kind of my problem is, these corporations are using excuses like that. Hey, no, we're paying too much. But when you actually go into their books, they're paying not only by far less than they did back then when our economy was healthy. Now our productions has gone up. They say the average worker's production has increased by 80%, but their pay has gone down if you account for inflation. Okay, these companies are making more money off that by each worker being more productive and paying them less money. They're paying less in taxes, including a majority of them pay no fucking taxes. They're paying less taxes than I do. Me and my fucking lower middle class family. I pay by percentage, of course, less taxes than a lot of Fortune 500 companies. I mean, that's my kind of problem is we're pointing at shit like free phones. I totally agree. Maybe if they just gave them little shitty flip phones that could call 911, then I could maybe see that. If we're giving away too much bullshit, or even then, like I don't know if you read this, but some Rolling Stone article, which, to be fair, Rolling Stone is obviously a really fucking liberal article, okay? But they were talking about going to a Tea Party rally in, I want to say it was a southern state, something like that. And something he noticed was there was an incredible amount of people at this rally in those little jazzy fucking scooters, right? And so and to be fair, at a Tea Party rally, it was of course a lot of more, the average age was a lot higher than a normal population group. But he asked somebody like, hey, where the fuck are all these scooters? They're all the same brand, this and that. Like, oh, well, they found out how to get Medicare to pay for these things straight out of pocket, so they fucking kept it. Like, here's people bitching about government assistance programs while taking advantage of it on the back end. Which really, if it's there, I can't really, knock you for taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? But that's kind of my problem is we keep pointing the finger at the people, and this is
you can't knock them for taking advantage of that because you know how long they've worked their asses off to be afforded the opportunity to use Medicare. I mean, they deserve that shit.
Yeah,
they are the generation that deserve it. My generation and your generation, the generation following us, don't deserve that shit. It's going to be gone. You know why it's going to be gone? Because these fuckers can't keep jobs long enough to fucking do anything special if or can't contribute. And then we're shipping jobs overseas that should be here because of government regulation and taxes.
I just don't have the numbers to back that up.
I don't either right now. And I'm sad that we got to this point without it. So
every time I see it, when I look at the generation before us, they had a fucking cakewalk compared to the one now and the one afterwards. Now, luckily for me, I kind of am skipping a lot of that shit. Some parts through luck, some parts from being able to do, talking to the right people and getting the right fucking advice of what to do with my life, But for the most part, somebody, people joke around like when they're talking about, talking to their parents, I started with fucking nothing and I have a business now and this and that. Well, yeah, but now we're starting our kids off, for them to get a higher education is now incredibly more expensive than it was for the baby boomer generation, even accounting for inflation, And for them to get a job, that job is now ridiculously lower paying, including when they have a degree. These people can get 4-year degrees and go out and get paid like shit, So I don't think, we blame a lot of shit, and this is what I was going to say. It kind of reminds me of, we were blaming, I remember hearing this shit all the time, the fucking new core is going to shit, okay? The new core is ruining everything. Now we're having to fucking do this and that, blah, blah, because of the new core. But it was never a junior Marine making changes to the rules and shit like that. The Commandant would make gay-ass fucking rules, changing the tattoo policies, and changing the hazing policies, which some of that I agreed with. I think people took a little too far. Yep. But all the things that were going to shit in the Marine Corps was not the fucking new Marines making those decisions. It was and I've always had this stance, the senior officers and staff NCOs who joined when there was no war going and joined for a fucking GI Bill and never planned to really be a fucking warrior. That was who. The last Commandant is who's your Commandant now, or who was the last one? Amos, right? Amos,
yeah.
Yeah, that motherfucker didn't even have a combat action ribbon. He's the Commandant of the Marine Corps. He is like the epitome of bullshit fucking Marines, and he was put in charge of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of my problem. This is kind of my example here, is we're blaming a lot of shit, the state of the economy, this and that, on the people with the least fucking control over it. Like, the real people with control over it are politicians, the people who buy the politicians, the freaking company owners, shit like that. They're getting away scot-free, even though they had a way easier time getting up, a way easier time getting an education, a way easier economy to take advantage of, and now they get way cheaper fucking labor that is way more productive than their predecessors did.
Right. There's two solutions, as well as one solution, two parts. You put term limitations on everybody in the government, and you do away with electoral college. Those two things right there will fix most of this.
I don't know. I think most of this shit is fucking the next generation's fault. Like Mr. Michaels here.
Indeed you do. I mean, fuck it. Make it free. Shit, I need the money.
See? You're the problem, son.
Goddamn.
I mean, I'm black, so I'm already a problem.
Hey. You need me to buy your PlayStation membership for you, man? Is that what's going on here? Hey, you want another handout? Let me get that for you. Hold on a second.
Trust me, it's all I want. I want everything to be handed to me. I don't want to work for shit. To be quite honest with you, if I could make money without even having to be at work right now, I would. I'm like in the middle of the aisle, talking on the phone, testing at work. Shows you the fucks I give.
Fired.
Oh shit! But I mean, that's kind of my thing. Is whenever I look at the raw numbers for it, it's kind of like the people who had the easiest time in life. Because before the baby boom generation, back in the greatest generation, those motherfuckers had a hard life. We're talking about World War II. We're talking about the Great Depression. We're talking about a fucking hard life. If they came to me, my great-grandparents would have said, yeah, you're getting this shit handed to you. Oh, yeah, fuck, dude. Compared to what you went through, I'm having a fucking easy time, okay? But the generation after that doesn't have shit compared to the difficulties that this generation does. And probably not compared to the one that's going to be after. I don't see a repair coming anytime soon. It's probably just going to get fucking worse. And we're going to bitch at them. Your kids, my kids. Yeah, look at you guys just fucking getting away with this shit scot-free. You guys got free Google Glass, didn't you? That's how the fucking economy
I think that was in the State of the Union.
If he did, he'd have my vote for next.
Free Google Glass for everybody. I'll throw a Tesla in for it too.
They're coming out with the cheap one next, or no, it's supposed to be 2017 now. They're coming out with the $35,000 one. And that's that guy right there. That CEO is a perfect example that what a lot of these other CEOs are full of fucking shit. He pays really good fucking wages. He comes out with innovative products, and he sells them for, compared to what they should be, or compared to what people predict, a lot fucking cheaper. He's kind of going against the fucking grain here while fighting against our freaking government who wants to shut them down to protect their own interests. He's kind of another person proving that paying slave wages to these people is not your fucking need to be. It doesn't have to happen.
Right.
Costco's another one. Costco's been demanded by their shareholders several times to lower pay for their employees because they pay really fucking well.
Yeah.
But what they save money on is they don't have to train new people because nobody wants to fucking leave. They get the cream of the crop to work there because everybody fights to fucking work there because it's a good fucking company. They take care of you. They pay you well. And I don't know if you go shop at those, but every time I go there, everybody's fucking happy. All the employees are fucking happy. They're not fucking in the middle of the aisle right now,
Yeah, you can.
Look, how can you not be happy working there? Look, you pay me good. Fucking, I hate all these benefits. I hate the fact that I walk down these aisles and there's always free food being handed out.
Exactly.
You're never hungry.
Too bad I don't work at Costco's then, huh? I guess you can't say the same thing about Walmart because their employees are shitty. Jesus Christ.
Exactly. That's why I avoid that shit. Like, we have a Sam's Club nearby too, and I avoid that shit because I don't agree with the business's practices. A lot of people don't pay. A lot of people know Walmart's fucking bullshit, but they go there anyways. And I don't knock you for it, especially if you're fucking broke. Walmart is a way to get by on a fucking nickel. But if I have the choice, I go to a company whose ethics I freaking support to keep my money going to a good cause. That's my way of doing charity without actually fucking being charitable. So.
I like it. So, my topic, I agree with myself.
That's my point, man. I just don't know if I could, I just gotta see, maybe you're 100% right. Maybe these fucking pieces of shit need to be given a fucking slap against the head and told to go work their asses off. It's just, especially when I was working at my last job at the staffing company, like there was one company, I'll give you an example. I can't name their name, not because I'd get in trouble, but I'm sure somebody would. But this company had a union there, right? So their full-time workers were paid pretty fucking decently. Like, I never saw the actual numbers, but I saw these fuckers driving Cadillacs and shit like that outside. But when they needed help from the temporary workers, they paid these people like shit. Okay? We're talking about less than $8 an hour out there.
Yep.
For doing pretty much the same fucking job those union workers were doing. And we had to fight for that. Originally, they wanted to pay freaking, like, right above minimum wage, right? Like, I think minimum wage was $7.25. They wanted to pay $7.50, and we had to fucking fight with them to get to, no, it was actually $8.75 is what we paid. Fucking garbage wages. And they would do it, like, we would send, let's say, 40 people, and then they would lay them all off, like, 2 weeks later, right? A month down the road, they would say, hey, we need employees again, and we want these, out of your 40 people, here's 20 that we really want you guys to put on the top of the list because they were great workers and this and that. And every time I did that, I realized I'm fucking these people because these people did good there, which, mind you, we had a lot of trash go there and not fucking, they didn't even earn fucking.
Why did they lay them off in the first place?
Exactly. But
it's a cycle for them.
Yeah, those people who called that they wanted called back did not deserve to be paid $8.75. They deserved more than that. But because they don't really know how to market themselves, they'll never fucking get it. They'll keep working at bullshit jobs like that and busting their fucking ass. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I don't know, man. That's kind of my problem. Is I've seen people working their fucking asses off and still being in freaking poverty. I mean, that's not right. I totally agree. If somebody's not working their asses off, fuck them. They can still. If anybody's working a 40 hours and really working, doing a serious job or a freaking hard job, they deserve to get their at the bare minimum.
Yep.
and that company needs to provide it. If that company can't get by paying a living wage, then fucking goodbye. Another company will replace it if you do it.
Yep.
I'm not going to keep, like, that government support. Everybody bitches about people on government support, but if you're paying so low of wages that your employees have to be on government support, that money's officially going to you. That company is now on government support, and if you don't fucking like socialism, well, too bad. I need to get the government in there and change your freaking business practices. Not that I think that would do right. I think the government would fuck it up even worse. But that threat on the table that if I'm having to provide government support for you, then I get to make some of your business decisions, they'll probably find that money real quick to pay another $1 or $2 an hour.
Yep.
So, I don't know, man. That's my point. Fuck them all. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I got.
What about you, Mr. Mike?
I'm trying to hide myself from my manager. It's like we're playing like a cat and mouse game right now. Hold on, I think I'm winning.
I think I'm winning.
I think I am. Like, I'm really close to the front desk, and like, I'm trying my best to talk to you guys, and at the same time. Oh, let me pick it up the corner.
Oh man.
It's kind of hard for me to prove my point over here. You're kind of going against everything I'm saying.
I know, right?
These hard-working individuals. Now, Mike, who's at work right now, what do you think?
Yeah, tell me, Mike, on your Obama phone.
Technically, I am working, and about the whole Obama thing. I don't believe he should make community colleges completely free, but fuck it. I don't know. If it don't work out, I might go to the Coast Guard or something.
Here's what I think. On that note, myself, I totally agree with you, Puppet Master. If they're taking that money away from college funds, then that's fucking pointless. You know what I mean? I looked that up while we were talking. Can you still hear me? Oh yeah, people cry. I looked that up while we were talking, and the only links I could find saying that shit was coming out of college funds was Fox News and conservative people are totally right and everybody else is retard.com. So I need to look that up and see where the facts lie on that shit. But I think there's a lot of places from the government to take money to pay for community colleges that in turn we would get a return on investment of with more educated workers. You know what I mean? That's my problem. That's I think my biggest problem with the U.S. right now is we used to invest in our population, and that's going away pretty quickly. Like any investment into the freaking population is just drying up.
I don't think it's going away. I think it's been being placed in the wrong places. I think we're doing more than we used to do. I just think that we're doing it in the wrong way with the wrong programs and targeting the wrong people. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going more to like life support rather than education or something like that.
So we're treating the symptoms. We're not treating the illness.
Yeah.
So where in the hell is John Fest at?
He said he was going to be on later. Here we are at an hour and 15 minutes.
Here we are later.
Do you hear him too when I said, yeah, you're not going to fucking make it? He was like, oh, whatever, I'm going to show him.
He showed up for all 2 seconds.
He might just be, camouflage.
Yeah.
Drift. Can't really say what I want to say because I'm at work, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say.
I can't. Well, I can't see you. This black screen's killing me. That's
a good point. That's a good point. You're not gonna be seeing anything but the inside of my pocket, really.
All right, I gotta get going.
All right, what about you? You got anything? You got any shout outs you want to do, Mike?
Yeah, shout out to John for having me work right now. I want to apologize to the Kyle family, but I think you're both bitter. I'm sorry. What about
you? Chris Kyle's a hero. That's all I gotta say. I can't during service and after service. He's been a hero, so you can't take that from him. You lazy motherfuckers who's stealing my money. Get a job. Work hard. Make your own way, Fred.
Okay, I was I like how you said get a job. I was about to be like, I got a job, and you said work hard. I was like, oh, that excludes me from that.
Make your own way, damn it.
He
That's
just
it. That's all I got.
But anyways, so we're gonna sign off. But if anybody wants to check out our blog, I'm gonna post a link below the video in just a second. If I remember right, it's daretodisagree.blogspot.com. Come in there,
Two with like the number 2.
Yeah, exactly. And call us full of shit if you want to. Fucking make fun of Jonathan Esther's hair, even though I think he fixed it by now. But
All input is welcome. Negative, positive, doesn't matter.
and
I'm guessing you guys heard that.
yeah, I'm thinking Slow Chemical's being called to the office right now. So we're gonna sign off real quick before he gets fired. You all have a wonderful rest of your week.
Peace.
Thank you.